Thank you for downloading this RealAgriculture podcast. Excite your crops with inputs from Excite Bio. Access nitrogen and phosphorus with Excite Bio's lineup of inoculants and ag biologicals. Since 2010, they've been helping farmers harness the power of the soil. Learn more at excitebio.ca. That's XITEBIO.ca.
I'm Lindsay Smith with Real Agriculture, and joining me now is John Barlow, MP from Foothills, Alberta, and of course, the ag critic for the Conservatives as well. Welcome here, John.
Well, it's great to be here. It's great to be in Northern Ontario and talking about some of the issues that may be a little bit different in Northern Ontario than compared to other parts of the country, but agriculture is still always great to have a conversation.
We are literally standing in a cave. It is very cool.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the more unique venues I've ever been to. I feel a little freaked out that I'm inside a cave for an agriculture conference, but yeah, it's really cool. I've heard amazing things about this science center, so it's good to see it.
So yes, we are at the Northern Ontario Ag Conference. You're here, of course, to speak today. What will you be covering in your chat?
You know, they've asked me to focus on Canada's role, agriculture, when it comes to global trade. I think that's a very important topic right now, as we see agriculture as a very important tool for us to rebuild Canada's respect globally, but also certainly rebuild our economy as we come out of what's going to be a very difficult financial time. But I think the most important message of that is there is incredible opportunities for agriculture to have an important role. But unfortunately, our current government, I think, is taking us down the wrong path for our ability to meet that potential. So I think this is a critical crossroads where as government has to make a decision. Are we going to follow that European model of activism, ideology, and not making science-based decisions, or are we going to pick the path where we're basing our decisions on innovation, science, data, and what's best for Canada and what's best for our global customers?
I'll editorialize a little. It's not working great for the EU right now. Anyway, but that's my own slide. Okay, so now, but of course, Parliament is back sitting. Bill C-234 is in the works. We're not necessarily seeing a lot of action here as far as moving it forward. How do you see this playing out moving forward?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's back in the Liberals' court for the most part. We are trying to get it on the table as often as we can, so we've been successful that way. We've had it up for 2 hours of debate already. But as long as the Liberals put up speakers, they can drag this out for as long as they want. So obviously our argument is, this passed the House of Commons with, very strong support of all the opposition parties. This has already gone through the Senate. Stop fighting what clearly parliamentarians, elected officials, and Canadian farmers want. But obviously they are not going to let this go. But we are not giving up the fight. We know this is an uphill battle. Even if we get it to a vote in the House and it passes, it goes back to the Senate. So the shenanigans could start all over again. Really frustrating, I know, for Canadian farmers who were so engaged in the push to get 234 across the line. But unfortunately, the Liberals are refusing on this one to put a carbon tax carve-out for farmers, despite the financial benefit that this would give farmers. But certainly for us to try and lower food prices for Canadians, ensure more farmers we have, more product, higher yield, cheaper prices.
Now, there's also the option potentially of accepting the amendment and moving it forward, but that's not necessarily first choice. Is that something you could see moving on and moving it forward so that you at least get something on the table, or is it all or nothing?
Yeah, I think preferably, certainly we'd rather have it in its original form without the amendments. We have had some discussions. Can we move it along if we drop the amendment on taking out heating and cooling of barns? I think we could live with the sunset clause if we had to. Obviously, our thought is we're going to be in government by that time, and we will get rid of the carbon tax entirely. But if that's what it takes, a little bit of negotiation, some compromise on our part to expedite this through the process, I think we're open to that. But certainly the feedback we've had from Canadian farmers is they want that heating and cooling of barns element as part of the bill. And really, that's half the bill. And so to eliminate that would be negating a real important aspect. But let's be honest. The only reason that amendment is in there, it has nothing to do with, that there are other alternatives for heating and cooling of barns. This was a way for the Liberals and Liberal-appointed senators to delay and stall this bill. That's really all it is. They wanted an amendment. They didn't care what the amendment was. So this isn't about what's right and what's wrong. This is a way for them to just put wrenches in the wheels of this bill. And again, it's really unfortunate because this is an element where you've seen, as you know, Lindsay, it's very rare for all agriculture commodity groups to come together in a united voice, but they are on this particular issue. So for the Liberal government to ignore that for an ideological argument is really, really frustrating.
All right, John Barlow, thanks so much.
It's my pleasure. Good to chat with you.